Hey lovely, and welcome back to my channel. It's Kelley Green Johnson here, and I'm so excited you are here today to talk about the topic of burnout, because this is something we want to avoid in 2024. I know it's so easy with such a fast-paced life, whether you're a student or a professional or a parent. It's so easy to get overwhelmed and to feel like you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. So we want to make sure we are practicing self-care and doing different types of activities to help us stay grounded, help us stay calm and at peace, balance as much as possible, and not feeling burnt out. And if you're someone who just feels like you are on the brink of exhaustion and overwhelm and stress, this video is for you. I want to help give you different ways where you can incorporate self-care activities into your daily routine. But before we get started, if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos. We are here weekly working on ourselves, our self-development, self-growth, so you don't want to miss out on that. Now let's talk about burnout. So burnout is essentially more than just feeling a little tired, and I'm speaking from experience. It's like a state of physical and emotional chronic exhaustion. And a lot of times it comes with feeling detached from activities or even people. You might start feeling a lot more negative, a lot more confused, having a lack of focus, a lack of energy. And again, it can affect anyone. So it's crucial to address it before it overtakes your entire well-being. So again, you want to look out for the signs. Checking in with yourself, noticing if you feel extreme exhaustion, noticing if you feel an extreme lack of motivation, a loss of appetite, insomnia, depression, extreme anxiety. Maybe you start feeling ill or begin having emotional outbursts that just really seem out of your character. Recognizing these signs early on before they get to the extreme, they start creeping in, is a great way to help you avoid burnout. And I mentioned earlier that I know about burnout personally, and it's primarily because I've been burnt out before. Before I became a full-time entrepreneur and content creator in the self-development and well-being space, before I became a wife, before I became a mother-to-be, I worked in corporate. That was my life. The 9 to 5, well actually it was more like 8 to 5, long ass days. So I had to commute to work, get dressed, get dolled up, get there, stay all day, commute back home in traffic. And a lot of times I felt overwhelmed, but I didn't speak up on it. I used to work in human resources. I've been in roles as like assistant managers and directors and like things like that as I went up the totem pole. But way back earlier in my career, in my early 20s, when I first stepped into my first HR role, it was me and my manager, the two of us, overseeing an entire group, an entire part of an organization in New York City. And you know New York is huge. So working for this company, it was a rental car company, and I had a lot of responsibilities. It was just the two of us, so we shared a lot of the load, from new hire paperwork, orientations, leading workshops, and organizing different events, dealing with people with issues. Usually you go to HR because you got a problem, whether you're complaining about a coworker or a client, or we have to come to you because of your performance. Like, it's usually something that's a bit stressful in itself. But I love people, I love helping people. So this was something that a role that I wanted to go into. And as if I wasn't overwhelmed enough in that role, there came a point where my manager was expecting. And this is really exciting for her to be growing her family with her first child with her husband. However, with her going on leave, that meant I was left with the entire workload of the group by myself. And I was a very big people pleaser. I was very, yes, I got this. You give it to me. I'll take care of it. I got you type of gal. And eventually that caught up to me, because I just stayed in that role of overachieving and trying to please and trying to impress. And even when she came back, I went to do the same thing. Like, I didn't let up, and I just kept going and going and going. And one day I was at work, and we had new hire orientation. So that meant we had to have a whole bunch of new hires come in. I had to schedule everything, organize everything, make sure they had lunch, breakfast, the new hire paperwork they had to complete. I had to go through the orientation, which is pretty much a day-long workshop where I'm telling them everything about the rules and their roles and communication and like things like that, so they're prepared in their new positions. And I didn't realize it in that very moment how overwhelmed I was. Like, I do recall myself like pushing and pushing and pushing, like, I gotta get through this, I gotta get this done, I gotta, make sure this is done great, and I'm, impressing people. And I went to the copy machine, and the copy machine wasn't working. And the new hires were coming in. I was trying to put everything together. It wasn't working. The papers weren't coming out right. I just started getting very emotionally overwhelmed. And that started to transpire into the physicality of myself. And I physically just started sweating. My heart started racing. I was getting frustrated. I didn't know how to like ask for help or speak. I just had an entire breakdown. I broke down at my desk, crying. I went under the table. Like, it was so dramatic. It was an entire scene, to the point where they didn't know how to console me. They didn't know what was going on, my coworkers, that is. So they called 911, and your girl, got wheeled out on a stretcher and sent to the hospital. I told you, it was dramatic. But that's just how my body responded. That's how it reacted to the extreme stress, the extreme overworking, the burnout. I was burnt the heck out. And I do not want this to happen to you. Being burnt out is preventable. All we have to do is focus on our well-being, take care of ourselves, and follow the upcoming tips that I'm about to give you. And that's why it's so important for me to share this, because as we step into 2024, I know you have these goals, these ambitions, all these amazing things that you want to accomplish, and you will. But I want to make sure you don't overwork yourself in the process. You feel me? Because that has never happened to me again. And I'm going to make sure I prevent it from ever happening again in the future. And I want to do the same for you. So the first strategy to help you practice self-care and have more balance in your life, and I say balance loosely, by the way. I do want to make a note of this, because I don't think you can balance every single area in your life. Some areas are going to have a lot more focus than others. And that's okay. Like, maybe you're in a season where you're prioritizing motherhood a little bit more than your business, or you're prioritizing your business more than traveling. So, it can wave, there are ebbs and flows with what you indicate as balance in your own personal life, and that's okay. I just don't want you to also stress yourself trying to balance everything equally, because I honestly don't think that's possible. And so don't overwhelm yourself or stress yourself out trying to do that. So the first step, the first thing you can do is make sure you set boundaries. You see, I got overworked and overwhelmed and had a panic attack at work because I didn't set boundaries. I tried to go above and beyond in all areas instead of separating certain things, certain tasks even, that honestly didn't belong to me. Some of them belonged to my manager, who was awesome. I'm not knocking her at all. I was the one trying to go above and beyond and like step into her shoes to show that I can, be the next manager and things like that. So know that it's important to set boundaries, clear boundaries. And this could be in professional environments and personal ones too. And in order to set your boundaries, make sure they're clear, you need to understand what your needs are and what your limits are. Understand what's important to you and understand what you're not comfortable with. Don't be out here trying to build Rome in a day when you don't have to. And then once you establish your needs, your limits, even your values, then you can communicate that clearly, openly to the people in your life, whether that's a manager, a fellow coworker, a spouse, a parent. Communicate your thoughts, your feelings, and your boundaries clearly. So there's no question, there's no doubt on their part, and do it assertively. You ain't got to be rude, but you want to be direct. And the more specific, the better. And this brings me to my next step, is learn to say no. I'm the oldest of 3 siblings, and a lot of responsibility just in my life, personal and professionally, just oftentimes fell on me. And I recognized that later on. But in the moment, I didn't. And so I said yes to a lot of things. I was very like, if you ever took improv, which I have, it's very yes and. Like, in order to keep the conversation going, in order to keep the scene going, someone would throw you a line, throw you, a situation, and you would say yes and continue it on. And that was me. I was very yes and, but that ended up biting me in the butt. So it's important for you to recognize when your plate is full. If you got so much stuff on your plate, it's starting to mound up and fall over. It's too much. You've agreed to do too many things. Know that it's okay to say no. No is a complete sentence. If that's too harsh for you, then say no, thank you, or no, I'm not available, or no, I cannot contribute to this at this time. No, my plate is a little too full. It's easier than you think. You just have to practice it. And again, there are polite ways to decline responsibilities. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be mean and nasty. Just find a way that works for you that you can communicate and feel confident in doing so without feeling guilty. You are within your right to make sure you are taking care of your well-being. And I tell you, the more you practice, the better you get at it. Like, this is something that I had to learn. Remember, I told you I was a people pleaser. I was a yes and girl. And I had to learn, like, no, I can say I'm not available for something. I had to practice this myself. I learned that I can say no. No, I'm not available. No, I cannot participate in this. No, this doesn't work for me. And the world didn't crumble. I'm still here. I still have great, amazing people in my life who understand me saying no to certain things, who understand that I have boundaries in place. Another thing you can do to avoid burnout is to make sure you have some time management techniques in place. I have been a very tardy girl over the years. I just didn't prioritize punctuality unless it was like for work. And even then, I kind of would be like a little late sometimes. But it just wasn't something I prioritized. And actually, recently, in the last few years, it's something I've worked on a lot, thanks to my husband, funny enough, because we would have places to go, events to attend, and I would kind of make us late. And he pointed it out to me very respectfully, but it was basically like, babe, like, come on, when we gotta go someplace, we gotta be somewhere, I need you to be ready. Like, I need you to work on your time management. And so that's something I did. It helped our marriage. It helped us be punctual to events, and it's something that I can do. So it wasn't like, oh my God, no, accept me as I am. I want to be late to everything. It's like, really, girl, this man just wants to be on time for the movie, for the event. Like, get yourself together, work on your time management, and get it done. And that's what I did. So something I've been practicing for the last few years, and even people in my family and friends would notice it, and I'm very proud of that part about me. Now, your girl ain't perfect, but it's something I have very strongly been working on. And time management is important because it's not just about getting to events, but it can help with your productivity. It can help with you accomplishing tasks, especially if you are working, especially if you are a parent. If you're someone who doesn't want to feel overwhelmed by time, then having effective time management is crucial for this. So a few ways that I like to make sure that I'm prioritizing my time management techniques is, one, having a to-do list. When I don't have a to-do list, I feel confused. I feel unorganized. I'm not sure which way is which, what I should be prioritizing, what I should be getting done. And I'm spending so much time thinking about that. Whereas if I just wrote it down, I wouldn't have to think about it. I would just go through the checklist and make sure everything gets checked off. Another thing I like to do is eliminate distractions. So if I know there's a task that I need to complete that's going to require a certain amount of time, I'll put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'll make sure there's no distractions that could be coming in, as in phone calls or social media notifications, none of that, because I want to focus on what I'm supposed to focus on. So if I allow distractions to come in, then that's going to prolong me completing the task, and that's not what I want. Another great technique that works for a lot of people is called the Pomodoro technique. Now, this technique is great for like perfectionists and procrastinators because ultimately you work on a specific task in intervals. So it's like a 25-minute period, and then you take 5-minute breaks in between for about 4 times. And then after the 4th time, then you could take a longer break. But ultimately, this technique or this method is to help you avoid things like burnout by helping enhance your focus. Get to know the technique because it might be something that's great for you. Okay, and then last but not least is to practice self-care. Dive into the different aspects of self-care. Find out what's important to you for the physical, for the emotional, for the spiritual, for the mental. This will help you maintain a healthy well-being. And self-care doesn't have to be something that's dragged out for like 2 hours. Self-care can be a task, an activity, something you find fun, something you find energizing, something you find calming and relaxing. And it's something that could just be 5 minutes. Perhaps you can do a 5-minute guided meditation or a 15-minute walk around the block. Maybe you could take 10 minutes to stretch and move your body. Self-care can be drinking plenty of water, making sure you stay hydrated because proper hydration helps with your energy levels and your overall well-being. Self-care is also making sure you're putting good things in your body. Nobody's saying you have to go vegan, but you do want to make sure you're not starting your day with things like sugary cereals all the time. High sugary drinks in the morning before you even drink your water. You want to do things like make sure you take your vitamins, eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and whole grains. Self-care is taking care of your skin, making sure you are clean, moisturized, smelling good, your skin feels good. And then of course things like quality sleep, relaxation techniques like getting a massage or taking a warm bath can all come together and help you with your well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, and then spiritually too. Like perhaps you're someone who wants to make sure you read your Bible. Perhaps you're someone who wants to practice gratitude in the morning and write down your affirmations. Find what works for you, what brings you joy, what makes you feel fulfilled. Because self-care is a personal journey. Sure, you can get inspiration from people like me, other YouTubers online, but ultimately you have to find what works for you on your journey. And that may require some experimentation, but you got this. You are bound to figure it out. You just have to pick the ones that fit your particular lifestyle. And now I want to hear from you because obviously I can't come up with everything. I also need help from you, and so do other people here watching the video. So I would love for you to comment below your favorite self-care practices or strategies for avoiding burnout in the comments below. But ultimately, learning ways to avoid burnout, learning ways to practice self-care is going to help you live a healthier, more fulfilling life. I want that from me, and I want that for you. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to share with someone who you feel might need these tips. Subscribe for more self-development and lifestyle content from me. And remember that taking care of yourself is not a luxury. It needs to be a priority because you deserve to have a healthy well-being. This will also help lead you to success. So until next time, take care of yourself. Show yourself some love, show yourself some care, and I'll see you in the next video. Later, lovely.